Well, hello there. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Breaking Barriers interview series where we get to hear amazing insights from our female executive leaders, those major forms of inspiration we actually are looking to give our less seasoned female leaders. They're aspiring for greatness, and I know that they'd want to be able to hear from these seasoned veterans in the different industries. And today we have Dr. Mary Papazian, and she's in the academia industry, Dr. Mary. And so I'll have her officially introduce herself, but I am just really honored to have her share those, the rich insights with us today. Dr. Mary, welcome to Breaking Barriers interview series. It's so great having you here.
Well, it's my pleasure, and it's good to see you. I think it's a really important initiative, and anything that I can share that might be helpful to others, I'm happy to do so.
Awesome, awesome. So can you please, just for the record, could you please provide your full name and current position title in your organization currently?
So I'm Mary Papazian, and I'm the Executive Vice President of the Association of Governing Boards for Universities and Colleges. It's an association that focuses on the work of the boards at universities and colleges, public and private, across the United States, with some international members as well.
Oh, wow, that is a huge responsibility. Thank you for taking the time. So how long have you been working in that position?
I've been there since late August. So what is that? 6 months, something like that? Yeah.
Yes, but I'm sure you've had leadership positions leading up to that, right? Which is
yeah, I've been in a senior leadership position for about 20 years. I was a dean of a college at a university, College of Humanities and Social Sciences. I was a provost and senior vice president at another university in the City University of New York in the Bronx, Lehman College. And then I was president of Southern Connecticut State University and also president of San Jose State University in Silicon Valley.
Awesome. And I do know about the CUNY schools. I believe my sister has a background there, so it's very familiar. Very awesome.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you. Yes. And so can you just give us just a brief context and really what the challenges in the academia industry, what they are in terms of cultivating resiliency? And we're talking obviously from the perspective of a woman executive leader, or empowering authentic leadership. You want to touch base on that just roughly?
Yeah, and it may not be all that different from executive leadership in the business sectors as well. I think women are often brought into roles with the expectation, certainly their own expectation, that they have to be qualified in all areas. So there's a little bit more strain even when they're hired. And so there's always a segment, I think, who are wondering if the woman is up for the job, right? Can handle it. I think I've seen and had experience with men who themselves might feel insecure and are threatened by strong women leaders. So there's always this delicate balance you play between, if you will, your femininity and your role as a leader. The way we define leadership is generally very male gendered. If you think about strong and confident, and you can go on. And yet when women exhibit those qualities, it seems sometimes to be a threat. So I think that's often a challenge. I think the other piece is that there's less margin for error for women. So the resiliency piece, I think, is a really key factor. I'm glad you're looking at it. It seems when men make a mistake or when things don't go exactly right, they have a little bit more room, there's more support. When women are perceived to have, perhaps not made the right decision or be subject to criticism by others, there doesn't seem to be quite as much room for that. So I do think there's a difference. And then the numbers are just off. In higher education, in terms of institutional leadership, presidents and chancellors, we're stuck at about 33%. and it varies of the kinds of institutions, but it's still a minority of institutions. And I would say what I describe for myself is even more poignant for women of color who face not only the issues of being a person of color in the United States, but also of being a woman. So I've talked to many of my colleagues who have that intersectionality, and it's an even more, I think, challenging environment.
Yeah. So I'm just going to follow up by asking, so why do you really think that we're not given as female leaders grace as, opposed to our male peers?
It would be a little bit of speculation on my part. I'm sure there have been studies on it, but I think part of it is that we it's a mismatch of expectations. And so people just, it's assumptions that I think people bring to the table sometimes. And it plays out in these ways. I don't know that people mean to be that way. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just what happens in the way there are responses.
Exactly. But it's something that we need to be aware of, I believe, as female leaders open our eyes, right? And just be cognizant of that and not just ignore and say, oh, it's nothing. That's what I've
Well,
noticed. So, yeah,
that's a
that's it.
really good point. Yeah, we shouldn't, we should be, I've said this when I've spoken to emerging leaders in other contexts, that it's, we can all wish the world were different. It's not, and it probably won't be anytime soon. So we should be cognizant of what the challenges are, the unique challenges are, and then what we should do is develop strategies that work to address it. And if we can anticipate things, if we can address them, if we can sometimes bring them to light in as they're going, so that there's no surprises, then I think we can be more successful. And many have been. I mean, we've had quite a number of very successful women in these roles who have learned that. And so I think we should be with our eyes open, not be naive about it, but be pragmatic. I think pragmatism can be sometimes a very good quality here.
I like how you phrase that. And that's exactly why we're here to gather all the insights so we can develop strategies to be able to hand and, deliver to those upcoming and aspiring female executive leaders. And I just before I go on, I just want to say this one thing. I'm a visionary leader, but I'm also very strategic. So I
Yeah.
wrote a book on purpose strategies for living and leading just because of the talent marginalization that I have
Yeah.
faced in the high-tech sector, just to encourage others. The transformation kit that it starts with the mind, it's a mindset. You talk about confidence, that's where it starts. So just detailing that process and just focusing on the things that are ignored. It's absolutely essential at this particular time. So that's why we're glad that we have such amazing high level of experience leaders like yourself seeding into this conversation so that we can actually take action